So good morning everyone. So for the course planned biotechnology, today we will discuss about embryo rescue and cryopreservations. Embryo rescue, why we need the embryo rescue? What is embryo? Embryo is nothing but it, it developed from the zygote. Zygote is developed during the male and female fertilization of the male and female eggs and then further development of the zygote. And zygote further goes and develop into the embryo. So that embryo has to isolated from the endosperm and for the further development, if endosperm is not compatible or that is not able to develop completely, then we have to provide the artificial culture media to the embryo. Embryo has to protect it from the different adverse climatic conditions. So in that conditions, we have to rescue the embryo from the adverse climatic conditions, and we have to culture this embryo under aseptic condition or artificial media. Embryo rescue. So embryo rescue is defined as the number of in vitro techniques whose main purpose is to promote the development of an immature or weak embryo into a viable plant. Sometimes what happens by hybridization or by process, when there is a fertilization of the male and female gamete, after that development of the zygote, and sometimes the zygote get developed into the embryo, but embryo is not able to develop into the complete plant because of underdeveloped endosperm. So at that time, or sometimes embryo is somewhat weak, so it's not able to develop completely. So we have to protect the embryo. We have to isolate the embryo under aseptic condition, provide the artificial culture media. At that time, the embryo will convert into the viable plant, will develop into a complete plant. Then the embryo rescue has widely used for the producing plants from hybridizations, in which failure of endosperm to properly develop cause embryo abortions. Sometimes embryo rescue is implicated for the production of the plants from the hybridization. During the wild hybridization process, this problem generally occur. So what happened at that time? During the wide hybridization, embryo failure of the endosperm not able to nourish the embryo properly. Okay, so which cause the embryo abortions, or sometimes endosperm not able to develop completely. So it is not able to provide the complete food to the growing embryo. So embryo will be aborted at that time. So we have to protect. So we have to protect such type of embryos under aseptic by isolation or culturing on under artificial culture, aseptic conditions. In embryo rescue protocols, the artificial nutrient media serve as a substituent. It serves as a substituent for the endosperm. Thereby, it allows the embryo to continue its development. Embryo rescue protocols is generally performed on the artificial culture media. They act as a substitute for the embryo. Means directly embryo is not able, not present. Their means endosperm is not there, but the culture media, which is providing the nourishment or nutrient, it acts as a substitute for the endosperm. Thereby, they allow the embryo to continue the development. Embryo rescue technique also have been utilized to obtain progeny from intraspecific hybridizations that do not normally produce the viable seed. In case of intraspecific hybridizations, they are not able to produce the viable seeds. Okay, so at that time we are using those. So there are certain kind of factor which involve in embryo rescue. So first is we talk about the media, culture media or artificial media. So you know very well Morashik and ISCO, MS media is well-known culture media which is used in plant tissue culture, and Gemberg V5 media are most commonly used vessel media for embryo rescue study. So MS, Morashik school and Gemberg V5 media most commonly used vessel media for the embryo rescue study. Type and concentration of the media supplemented which require depend greatly on the stage of development of the embryo. Embryos initiated at heterotrophic phase. Sometimes embryos initiated at heterotrophic phase. Heterotrophic phase means pro-embryo stage, which require a complex media. Amino acids, particularly group amine, asparagine, are often added to the medium. There are various vitamins may play also included. Natural extract such as coconut milks, casein hydrolysate have sometimes been used instead of specific amino acids. There are sucrose which often serve both as carbon source and osmoticum. So generally at that time we have to use sucrose at 232 to 252 millimolar or 8 to 12% of sucrose we have to use that act as a both carbon source as well as osmoticum. Carbon source and osmoticum. In the autotrophic phases that we talk about the heterotrophic phases. Now we will discuss about the autotrophic. Auto means they will itself it will synthesize. Autotrophic phases which usually begin in the late heart-shaped embryo stage. The later on they develop into the heart-shaped embryo stage. So at this time the embryo is capable of synthesizing substances which require for their growth from malt and sugars, salts and sugar. So in case of autotrophic phases, that heart-shaped embryo stage will capable of synthesizing the substances. So after a few when globular stage, heart stage, torpedo stage, uh, embryo stage, it will synthesize, it able to synthesizing a particular nutrient which is required for the particular growth from the salt and sugars. Germination will also usually occur on simple inorganic medium, which is supplemented with a 58 to 88 millimolar. We can say 2 to 3% of the sucrose. So in general, low concentration of the auxins have been promoted to normal growth. Gibberellic acids has caused embryo enlargement and cytokinin which have inhibited the growth in addition to supplying the vitamins, amino acids to the medium. Natural extract often also supply growth regulators. They also supply a different class of growth regulators. Okay. So we have to in addition to the synthesized nutrient, we have to provide artificially vitamins, different class of amino acids. So they act as a template for the protein synthesis. Media requirement differ depending upon the stages of embryo development. Because as such, embryos subsequently grow from globular stage, heart stage, torpedo stage. So each and every stage afterward, the requirement for the growth and development keeps on changing. So accordingly, we have to provide the nutrient to the culture media. We have to change the nutrient composition for the proper growth and development of the embryo. So for culture initiated using very young embryo, more than one media formulation will be needed. Next is temperature and light. This temperature and light is also affecting the growth of embryo, often mimic those of their parents, with embryo of cool seasons, which crop requiring lower temperature than the other warm season. So at that time, temperature or lights when the temperature will keep change on at each stage of each growing stage of the embryo. So the growing requirement of the embryo will keep on changing according to changing climatic conditions, as per temperature either increasing or decreasing, or as compared to optimum temperature. So it accordingly we have to change the nutritional media composition, nutrition composition of the culture media. Similarly, cultures are usually initiated culture in the dark to prevent the precocious germination. If we are continuously providing light to the growing embryo, so germination will be taking place. So to avoid such type of germinations, we have to keep embryo into the dark phases to prevent it precocious germination. But later on, it will move to the lightened environment to allow the chlorophyll development after 1 to 2 weeks in the dark conditions. So you know very well that when chlorophyll is because for the chlorophyll development, light environment is required. If light is sufficient light is not provided to the plants, chlorophyll will not be developed. So at that time the leaf will be bleached, or we can say the proper green color will not be developed into the leaves. So next, if we talk about the time of culture, say time of culture is also affecting the growth of embryo. As you know, the culture are often initiated at various intervals, following pollination to maximize the chance of recovering viable plants. Since an interaction between the media and time of culture is expected, it is also important to test a range of different class of media, which ranging from complex with the high sucrose content to a simple with low sucrose content. So at that time, when we are providing either complex or low sucrose content to culture media, at that time we have to note it down. Okay, what type of growth or which class of the growth of embryo is taking place at that time. So by following to maximize the chance to recovering the viable plants, at that time we can recover all the plants, viable plants. The interaction between media and time of culture is very important, a critical stage of the growth development. So, what are the protocols to be adopted during the embryo rescue protocols? So, at that time, embryo culture, this is the most common used embryo rescue protocol is embryo culture. Okay, generally we are adopting for the different crops. In different crops, embryo has been uh, protected by using this technology. So what happened at that time? Wide hybridizations when endosperm is not fully developed, or endosperm is not able to provide their complete nourishment to the embryo. At that time, what we have to do? We have to isolate the embryo from the hybrid. At that time, we have to isolate the embryo. We have to place it on the artificial culture media. So that culture media will provide the requirement, growing requirement or nutrient to the growing embryo. So after later on, the embryo will develop and will develop a complete healthy plants. So whatever in which embryo are excised, embryo has to remove or excise and place directly onto the culture media. So this is known as embryo culture. So we can define in other layman language. What is embryo culture? Embryo culture is nothing but it's a excise of the underdeveloped embryo or growing embryo and placed directly onto the culture media. That is known as embryo culture. So fruits from the controlled pollinations or fruits we develop under controlled conditions, controlled pollinations of the greenhouse or field condition plant. Sorry, field growing plants is collected prior to the time at which embryo abortion is thought to occur. Since embryos are located in sterile environment, so these infestations of the embryo itself is not required. Sometimes the entire ovary is surface sterilized when we are going to the tissue culture or culturing the tissue, or like ovules or embryo. So before that, disinfections is required. Surface sterilization is required. So embryo will be placed directly onto the culture after its excision, so that it does not become dry. So we have to ensure when we are placing the embryo onto the culture media, culture conditions. So we have to ensure that after immediate placement of this embryo onto the culture media, so culture should not be embryo should not be dry. Embryo should not be dry. So for the heart shape and younger embryo, the embryo should be excised with the suspensor intact. Suspensor is nothing but these are the type of the cells which keeps on providing the nourishment or maintain the moisture. So immediately the embryo will not become dry. If it become dry, then further on later on the embryo will become dry. So we have to protect the embryo to become the dye. So we have to when we are excising the embryo from the intact endosperm along the escrow, we have to try to isolate along with the suspensor cells. Ovule culture. Next is ovule culture. So embryos are difficult to excise when very young or small seeded species. We talk about the small seeded species. Small seeded species, you can say mustard in case of mustard. So embryos are not able to, not so easy to isolate. So then what we have to do, we used to try to prevent the damaging the embryo during the excision process. They are sometimes cultured while still inside the ovule. When ovule is present, so at that time we have to taken care while excising the embryo. So this technique is referred as ovule culture or in vitro ovule culture. So what we have to do instead of excising embryo, we will completely isolate the ovule. Okay, we will try to isolate or excise complete ovule. Okay, so it becomes somewhat easy as compared to embryo excision. As with embryo cultures, ovaries are collected prior to the time at which embryo abortion is thought to occur. The ovary is surface sterilized and ovule removed, placed onto the artificial culture media. So this step ranges from extremely easy to accomplish for large seeded species, in which only a small ovule is present, time consuming and difficult for small seeded species. So we have to very care at that time. We have to taken care about the embryo and ovules when we are trying to excise the embryo. before the culturing. Because if once the embryo get damaged during the excisions, and then later on embryo will not able to develop into the complete plant. Similarly, ovule also. And we are excising the ovule, although ovule excision is somewhat easy as compared to embryo, but we have to take care during the ovule culture also. Next is ovary culture. In ovary or pod culture, the entire ovary is placed into the culture. Ovaries are collected and any remaining flower part removed. Disinfestation protocol must remove surface contaminants without damaging the ovary. The ovary is placed into the culture so that the cut end of the pedicels is in the medium. At the end of the experiment, seeds are removed from the fruit that development culture. So, when seeds are removed from the fruits, we have to isolate the ovary at that time. Okay, so ovary should be placed into the culture so that cut end of the pedicel should be present in the culture media. They're providing somewhat of support. See, this is the structure of different ovules. You can clearly see megaspore model cells, and it is covered by the nucleus. Integuments. Integuments has a hole that is known as a micropyle. Okay. So in the fruits also there is arrangement of pedicels or penticels, prolaxis, articulate pedicels, ovary. Ovary, you can see the ovule. There are some applications of the embryo rescues. Why we need the embryo rescue? It overcoming the dormancy. You know very well there's some particular type of species they have dormant inherent dormancy period. We can overcome the dormancy. In some fruit plants, embryo require period after the ripening before germination. Example, Prunus and Taxus. Taxus, these two plant species, when the fruit plant embryo require period of after ripening. Okay, so at that time we can use those at that time. So we are talking about the application of the embryo rescue. So first application is overcoming dormancy. If we talk about the embryo rescue applications of embryo rescue, so why we need the embryo rescue? So first, it overcome the dormancy. There are some different class of the plants which have inherent dormancy period during the germination. Okay, so it shorten out the dormancy. Breeding cycle shortening. It's shortening the breeding cycle. Seed will take 10 to 20 days for the maturation phases on in vitro culture to overcome this maturation period. Interspecific hybrid recovery. Sometimes distant crosses may fail, which cause of inability pollen to get germinate. Failure of pollen tubes to grow, degenerate of the endosperm. All causes fails to embryo germination, so this problem overcome by the embryo rescue. Okay. These are the few applications of the embryo rescue. Now, there is some somaclone variations. As you know, we already defined about somaclone variations. These are the genetic and phenotypic variations among clonally propagated plant from a single donor clones. So genetically phenotypic variations has been generated during the tissue culturing of the cells. Okay. Somaclone variations caused by the process of tissue culture. So these variations are caused during the culturing of the cells or tissue, which induce the variations. To more specifically define the induced. The somaclonal variations can be manifested as either so, somatically or meiotically stable events. Somatically stable variations include phenotype such as habituations of culture and physiological induced variations, which observed among the primary regenerate. Meiotically heritable variations occur and is most important in situations where the end product, the tissue culture, is propagated and sold at seed. Now, application of somaclonal variations. If we talk about the applications, somaclonal variation is one of the useful source of introducing genetic variations that could be valued to the plant breeder. There are some single gene mutations in the nucleus or organelle genome, which may be best available variety in the vitro that has a specific characters. Similarly, various cell lines which are selected in vitro may prove potentially applicable to the agriculture and industry, like resistant to the herbicide and pathotoxins, salt or aluminum. Variability in the cell culture, which has played an important useful role in synthesis of secondary metabolite at a commercial scale. So somaclonal variations, there are some certain successful example in which somaclonal variants has been developed in different crop species. So first example is rice. In case of rice, significant improvement has been made to the relative parents, which were observed for the seed weight, seed protein percentage, killer number, panicle length, time of flowering. Okay, so all these improvement has been done through the somatoform variations in rice. While in case of wheat, variations were manifested for the gliadin protein in tissue, grain color, plant height, heading date, and yield. In case of maize, plant has been regenerated from the selected cell lines, which were resistant both to T toxins and to infections on Drosera maedis. Dragestera maedis is a fungi which cause sudden leaf blight. So this, in case of maize, the toxicity has been overcome by the some variants that are developed into the maize. Potato. So in case of potato, some variants has been selected for the resistance to Phytophthora infestans and to its multiple races. It has been developed resistance to the early blight also. If we talk about the tomato, in case of tomato also some clones were isolated with variant phenotype such as recessive mutations for male sterility, resistant to fusarium, oxysporum, jointless paddy cells, So similarly, we also observed in case of sugarcane also. So Somacron variations has been isolated by different worker for the cane yield. So cane yield has been improved by using this Somacron variations of culturing of the callus cells from the sugar sugarcane. So sugar yield and resistant to smut disease, which is caused by the Astellagostemania. Downy mildew that is caused by the Helminthosporium saccharine. So these two disease resistance has been developed in the Somacron variants of this sugarcane crops. Now next topic is cryopreservations. Cryopreservation. Cryopreservation is a Greek word which literally means preservation in the frozen state. Cryo means chilled or frozen. We have to preserve the cell, tissue, or any living material under frozen state for the longer period of time. So the basic, if we talk about the basic principle of cryopreservation, which involved in the cryopreservation, is to bring the plant cells and tissue culture to a zero metabolism or non-dividing stage by reducing the temperature and presence of cryoprotectant. So these cryoprotectant are very important when we are preserving the cell under chilled condition. We have to use the cryoprotectant because these cryoprotectant helps to helps to provide protection from the damage. That's it. Basic principle of cryopreservation is zero metabolism or non-dividing state, zero metabolism, non-dividing state. So this is generally done by using oversold carbon dioxide at minus 79 degrees centigrade. Low temperature deep freezers at minus 80 degrees centigrade. And vapor phase is nitrogen and liquid nitrogen at minus 96 degrees centigrade. Among these, the most commonly used cryopreservation is by employing the liquid nitrogen. Employing liquid nitrogen at minus 196. At the temperature of liquid nitrogen, the cells stay in completely inactive state. Thus can be conjured for a longer period of time. So if we talk about the mechanism of cryopreservation, the technique of freeze preservation is based on transfer of water, which is present in cell from a liquid to solid state. Liquid to solid state. Due to presence of salt and organic molecule in the cells, the cell water require much more lower temperature to the freeze, even up to 68 degrees centigrade as compared to the freezing point of pure water, that is around 0 degrees centigrade. When stored at low temperature, the metabolic processes and biological deterioration in the cell or tissue almost come to standstill. And precautions and limitation of the cryopreservations. So during the cryopreservation, cells form the ice crystal inside the cell that should be prevented as they can cause the injury to the organelle and to the cell. High intracellular concentration of the solute may also damage the cell. Sometimes certain solute from the cell may leak out during the freezing. Cryoprotectant also affect the viability of the cell. Cryoprotectant also affect the viability of the cell. The physiological status of the plant material is also important. So if we talk about the process of cryopreservation, the different stages of cryopreservation, so we have to follow a few steps. Development of sterile tissue culture first. We have to develop the sterile tissue culture. Then we have to add the addition of cryoprotectant. Then go for the freezing and storage. Then when we want to use that, we have to come back and use thawing. Thawing we bring it to room temperature. Then reculture of the cell and measurement of survival or viability of a protoplast cell. Then we can use them for the plant regenerations. So this is the generalized mechanism for the cryopreservations. Projected here, you can see here. In case of shoot tip culture. Shoot tip. The shoot tip is empowed in frozen and liquid nitrogen, then empowed is stored in liquid nitrogen also. Empowed thawing in warm water when we have to do thawing or at room temperature. And shoot tip in semi-solid medium. We can use it. Then we have to place this shoot tip culture, go for the shoot tip culturing. And shoot tip, we have to remove shoot tip and pre-grow on the medium with the DMSO. Then we can preserve this shoot tip with the crab protectant like DMSO in the culture medium. So this is a generalized mechanism of cryopreservations and development of sterile tissue culture. How we can develop a sterile tissue culture? To selection of the plant species and the tissue with particular reference to the morphological physiological character largely influence the ability of the explant to survive in cryopreservations. Any tissue from a plant can be used for the cryopreservations. Example: meristem, embryo, endosperm, ovule, seeds, cultured plant cells, protoplast, callus. Among these, meristematic cells and suspensal cell culture in the late lag phase or log phase are most suitable. Addition of cryoprotectant and pretreatment. Cryoprotectant are the compounds that can prevent the damage which are caused to the cell by freezing or thawing. Cryoprotectants are the compound that prevent the damage which is caused to the cell by freezing or during the thawing conditions. So by adding addition of cryoprotectants, we can protect the cells. Okay, by addition of cryoprotectant. Freezing point, supercooling point of water are reduced by the presence of cryoprotectant. As a result, ice crystal formations get retarded during the process of cryopreservations. So there are some general cryoprotectants which are most commonly used: DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide, glycerol, ethylene, propylene, sucrose, mannose, glucose, proline, acetamide, etc. Among these, DMSO, sucrose, and glycerol are most widely used. DMSO and BMSO sucrose most widely used. Generally, the mixture of cryoprotectant instead of single one is used for more effective cryoprotectant without damage to the cell. Without damage to the cell. Next is freezing. There are four different types of freezing method are used: slow freezing method, rapid freezing method. In case of slow freezing method, the tissue or requisite plant material is slowly frozen at slow cooling rate at 0.5 to 5 degrees centigrade per minute from 0 degree to minus 100 degrees centigrade, then transferred to liquid nitrogen. Then rapid freezing. This technique is quite simple, involves plunging of the oil containing plant material into liquid nitrogen. During rapid freezing, a decrease in temperature minus 300 to minus 1000 degrees centigrade. Freezing process is carried out so quickly that small ice crystals are formed within the cells. Then stepwise freezing methods. Stepwise freezing method represent a combination of slow and rapid freezing protocols with the advantage of both and is carried out in a stepwise manner. The plant material is first cooled to intermediate temperature, maintained for about 30 minutes, and then rapidly cooled by plunging it into the liquid nitrogen. Stepwise freezing method has been successfully used for the cryopreservation of suspension culture, shoot apices and buds. Then fourth method is dry freezing method. There are some workers which have reported that some non-germinated dry seeds can survive under freezing condition at very low temperature, in contrast to water-imbibed seeds, which are susceptible to the cryogenic injuries. In a similar fashion, survival rate under cryopreservation. Storage. The maintenance of frozen culture at a specific temperature is as important as freezing. In general, the frozen cells or tissue are kept for storage at room temperature in the range of minus 70 to minus 196 degrees centigrade. However, with temperature above minus 130, ice crystal grow may occur inside the cells, which reduce viability of the cells. Storage is ideally done in liquid nitrogen. Thawing. Thawing is usually carried out by plunging the frozen sample ampoule into the warm water. Temperature 37 to 45 degrees. By this approach, rapid thawing is done. Is 500 to 750 degrees centigrade per minute. This protects the cell from damaging effect of ice crystal formations. As the thawing occurs, ice completely melt, and the ampoules are likely quickly transferred to the water bath at temperature 20 to 25 degrees centigrade. This transfer is necessary since the cell get damaged if left for a long time in 37 to 45 water bath. For the cryopreservation material cell tissue where the water content has been reduced to an optimum level for freezing. The process of thawing becomes less critical. Reculture. In general, thawing generally is washed several times to remove the crab protectant. This material is then recultured in a fresh medium following standard protocols. Some workers prefer to directly culture the thawed material without washing. This is because certain vital substances released from the cells during freezing are believed to promote in vitro cultures. There is a measurement of survival viability. The technique which is employed to determine viability of crab preserved cells are same as used for the cell culture. So there are some stunning techniques used: triphenyl tetrazoline chloride (TTC), Evans blue, fluorescein diacetate are commonly used. So the best indicator to measure the viability of crab preservation cell is entry into the cell division and regrow into the culture. This can be evaluated by following expressions: the number of cells per organ per growing, number of cells organ thought into 100. Plant regenerations. The ultimate purpose of crab preservation is regenerate the desert plant. For appropriate plant growth and regeneration, the crab preserved cell or tissue have to be carefully nourished. Addition of certain growth promoting substances beside maintenance of appropriate environmental conditions is often necessary for the successful plant regenerations. Now, application of crab preservation. First, application maintenance of the protopark stocks culture. So, plant material of several plant species can be crab preserved, maintained for several years, and used and when needed. Crab preservation is an ideal method for long-term conservation of the cell culture, which produce secondary metabolites like medicines. So, disease-free plant material can be frozen and propagated when required. Recalcitrant seeds can be maintained for long time. Conservation of Somaconn variations, Diameron variation in culture. Plant material from endangered species can be conserved. And conservation of the pollen for enhancing longevity. Rare germplasm developed through somatic hybridization and other genetic manipulations can be stored. So this is all about the embryo recipe and crab preservations. Thank you. So this is somewhat lengthy topic, but we can teach. Crab preservation. First, application maintenance of the protopark stocks culture. So plant material of several plant species can be crab preserved, maintained for several years, and used and when needed. Crab preservation is an ideal method for long-term conservation of the cell culture, which produce secondary metabolites like medicines. So disease-free plant material can be frozen and propagated when required. Recalcitrant seeds can be maintained for long time. Conservation of Somaconn variations, Diameron variation in culture. Plant material from endangered species can be conserved. And conservation of the pollen for enhancing longevity. Rare germplasm developed through somatic hybridization and other genetic manipulations can be stored. So this is all about the embryo recipe and crab preservations. Thank you. So this is somewhat lengthy topic, but we can teach.